Alrighty guys, welcome back to another video, and as you can see by the title, I'm going to start talking to you guys about times and dates. So, one time, I went on a date with this chick, and she had a huge, I'm just kidding, not those kind of dates and times. I'm talking about the type of data whenever we work with dates such as birthdays in Excel. So before I get started showing you guys a bunch of cool stuff that you can do, we need to understand one extremely important concept, and this doesn't only apply to Excel, but also computers in general, and that's this. Computers have no concept of time. They're not human beings. All a computer is pretty much just a really fancy and actually really powerful calculator. So computers, Excel especially, is really good at working with numbers, crunching numbers, but behind the scenes, whenever we enter a date, it's always taking that date and converting it to a number. So even when we type some time in here eventually, and I'll show you guys the different ways that you can format your time, but it's always going to convert it to a number. So remember that. And actually, this is kind of confusing at first because you're like, alright, if it's taking the dates I type in and always changing it to some random number that I can work with, it's probably going to be really confusing. But it's not, because whenever you want to perform calculations like subtracting dates from one another, for example, if you want to calculate the age of something, you would subtract two dates from one another. It makes a lot of sense once you understand that concept. So enough about me rambling on. I sound like kind of some kind of hippie talking about time for the last 2 minutes, but let's go ahead and get started, and just keep that in the back of your head because you'll see when it comes into play later on. So the first thing that we have to take note of is, if computers don't have any sense of time, then when did time begin for this computer? Well, whoever made Excel, they just picked a random point in time. So whenever you type 1 as a date, this is January 1st, 1900. So this is what 1 means in Excel, and if you don't believe me, check this out. Type 1 into a cell, right click it, and hit Format Cells, and convert it to a date. Hit OK, and look at what it does. 1/1/1900. So remember, the number 1 always resembles January 1st, 1900. Now the number 3, if we did the same thing, convert that to a date as well, this is January 3rd, 1900. So 1's the first, 3's the third, so on and so forth. So that's pretty much how Excel is going to handle dates. Each integer starting at January 1st, 1900, resembling 1 day. Now, if you ever want to enter the current date, then what you can do is you can hold down Control on your keyboard and then press the semicolon, and it enters the current date. So today, whenever I'm making this tutorial, it's 11/5/2014. It's actually 2:52 a.m. because I couldn't sleep, and I was like, you know what, might as well make some stinking tutorials. So that is the current date. And if you guys were curious, if you ever want to know what this is in Excel time, let's go ahead and convert that to a number. So format cells, I really wish that pop up in the middle of my screen. And let's just convert that to a number and hit OK. So according to Excel, the date is 41,948 days. Now what this means is, since January 1st, 1900, 41,948 days has passed. Now another interesting thing that I want to point out is, let me drag this down just so I have a copy, is this. You see that Excel also throws in a decimal place whenever it's working with dates? Well, if you're wondering what's the point of that, kind of decimal point, what's the point of that? I don't know, there's probably a joke in there somewhere, but I'll worry about it later. Whenever you have a fraction of a day, this is how Excel treats time, since that's pretty much what time is. Like noon, that would be half a day, 12 hours. So if I ever did something like, I'll just do I'll just show you guys noon. So whenever we want to work with time, it's 41948.5, and actually let me copy that over. So this might be a better demonstration. So let me format this to a I'll just do it to a date with a time. So check this out. So whenever we have half a day, it means literally half the day, as in 12 hours. If we ever were to do something like 0.75, that would of course be 18 hours. 12 plus 6, that's how you come up with that. Now, one more boring thing that I need to talk to you guys about before we start learning about the cool date and time functions is one other weird rule, or it's not really a rule, it's just something weird that Excel does that is not intuitive at all, and it's probably going to confuse you guys if you ever see it, and that's this. So type in some date, like I'll type in Christmas. So 12 25, I'll say it's like I don't know, 84. Oops. So 12 25 84. So Christmas in 1984, hit enter. Alright, it filled in that 19 for us. It knew we were talking about 1984. Pretty cool. But now I want to enter a date Christmas. So 12 25. Let's say we're working with 1917. So I just typed 17 in there and hit enter. Oh, what the heck? Alright, so I just hit 84 here and it changed it to 1984. But when I hit 17, it changes it to 2017. So when do I know? Okay, is it going to put 19 or 2000? It actually, this is one of the weird things Excel does. Whenever you're entering a year, always write it as 4 digits, pretty much because Excel is weird, and I think the threshold is 30. Anything above 30, then it's going to convert to 1900. Anything below 30 is going to convert to a 2000 date. So again, one other thing, if you're like trying to autofill stuff and it's giving you the wrong data, make sure you always use 4 digits for years. So now that we got all the stupid stuff out of the way, like I said, in the next tutorial, we're going to be learning about the useful stuff you can do with dates and times, kind of calculations and functions and awesome stuff like that. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.